My name is Margie O'Neill, and our assignment this week was to read some of the videos and observe, give an opinion about what we saw. And so I watched the first one, well, actually I watched them all, but the first one was a little longer, and I was interesting that the fact that he went from being a doctor to being one that was studying the causes behind medicine. One of the things, I took quite a few notes, and what I noticed the most about it was the fact that newspapers don't always tell the truth. You know, they post untrue facts, they post contradictory facts about people's health. Another thing that I got to see was that there's 536,000 ways to distort evidence from a trial. If there's that many ways to distort the trials, then why do a trial? Why even put out the money and the expense to prove that one medicine is better than the other if there's so many ways that you can make it have a successful outcome? Also, it said that people seem to put a lot of attention and emphasis on people with the weakest authority. They claim that they know things about the food and what we should eat and how we should exercise when they don't even have any kind of education to support their claims. Another thing that I saw was that the claims that are usually made, whether it be by people or whether it be by the scientific trial community, was that they're not usually scientific. They're just based on opinion. There seems to be a need for proper science. However, technology is usually the technology that's used is they usually don't tell us. They don't really explain what goes into all the things that we have. Trials, you know, they're in search of an answer to make their product seem better than another product. Problem with that is they don't have to tell you exactly what they were using in their trial to make their product come out better than the other one. I found it interesting that the placebos, that the effect is kind of, it inspires a person to get better because it's connected to their beliefs and expectations. Pharmaceuticals, they use tricks to sell their product to doctors. They don't tell everything. They hide some of the facts. Drug companies that can get a license to bring drugs to the market using the placebo effect, which means they're taking their drugs and they're marketing them against a drug that has no benefit or no proof or validation for anything. I found it interesting that competing drugs can be altered to get the effect they wanted. So if they want their drug to be better than another drug, they either increase or decrease the dosage. Therefore, they're getting a suitable outcome for their product. It said that industry funded trials were 4 times more likely to get positive results than the independent trials. And that's because they are able to take information and twist it and put it into fit their categories. Another reason that it said that happens is that negative data goes missing, and usually that can be figured out by statistics or stories. So he talked about the chart and how they did the pyramid, and then he talks about all the little dots being a trial, and then he talked about how it come up the middle, and then all of a sudden the information just kind of disappears. So there's a benefit to not being completely honest. The negative data goes missing. It's done by the funnel plot. The top of the plot shows that less errors. The stories are withheld from the doctors and the patients. Nobody really knows what goes on with that information. It talked about the Tamiflu and how the Tamiflu was developed to reduce the complications, not to make you go through the symptoms less, but to reduce the complications of pneumonia and respiratory things, but it wasn't to like lessen the effect of the flu. So you'd think that if you're given medicine for the flu, it's to help you get over the flu, when in all honesty it's to prevent further complications from the situation. It also talked about patients nor doctors can make effective decisions in the absence of data. So if we don't have the proper information to be able to do those things that we need to do for ourselves, how are we making those decisions to put that stuff in our body? I like the way he closed it. The comment says we're like lifting the lid and peeking in and kind of just poking around in the mechanisms. Apparently we're at the mercy of the pharmaceuticals and the healthcare system that treats us in order to ensure that we're getting what we need. I also looked at the other videos about the caffeine and the placebos. The caffeine study about drinking more coffee will reduce your risk of stroke. I don't agree with that. I think that's not accurate information. The other story was about placebos are unethical. I completely agree that placebos are unethical. I think if a person goes to a doctor for treatment, they should receive a treatment. They shouldn't be trying to convince the patient that there's something wrong with them, that they can overcome it through their body and mind. I also kind of looked at the Overeaters video about the Overeater's brain. That's an odd study to me. I really don't have an opinion one way or another about how that is. You put a balloon in somebody's stomach and you inflate it, and then you study the brain. I think there wasn't enough information really there for me to give you an accurate depiction of what I wanted to say. Thanks. I enjoyed doing this experience, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my opinions. Have a good day.